And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Russell Pierce Raw Review. We're back at it, myself and Rob, here to talk about last night's episode of Raw, which was the final live edition of Monday Night Raw for 2023. It was the holiday show, and next week's going to be taped. So, yeah, this is the last Raw live for the year. And, it's a holiday episode, and I was almost anticipating and expecting that the show was going to kind of be a wash and one that didn't really need to be reviewed. But there were a couple fun things on this show. It was a bit better than expected, and so we had to kind of get up on here and talk about it. So that's what we're doing, guys. But yeah, we're going to be here for the next little bit. Please like the video, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and yeah, man, super chats. Of course, we're gonna we'll answer any question you'd like. So make sure to do that. But in the meantime, Rob, what's going on, man? Talk to me.
Yeah, I'm kind of just like you. Hold on, let me turn myself up. I'm kind of in the just like you in the sense that WWE throughout like the past 5-10 years, really all time, like I've just had all time most of the all time bad like Raw, SmackDown, etc. episodes are usually holiday episodes. Like remember that garbage uh 4th of July episode where we still don't know who hit Kevin Owens with that pie, all the garbage 4th of July episodes, the garbage Veterans Day episodes, all the garbage holiday episodes pretty much. But I think it's a testament and it shows uh Triple H's booking prowess, so to speak, that this is the first, I could say, Christmas holiday episode of Raw in years that wasn't turn my TV off like horrible television for the first time in years. And so like you guys literally yesterday we were like, this Raw is gonna be bad because this is a holiday episode, and I'm just like, oh, so we were just like, we're not gonna review it because it's a holiday episode, it's gonna be bad. But then we had the Miz and Gunther match, and then we had the Creeds match, and then we had the women's tag team match, which is better than it should have been. So yeah, I'm very very excited to finally be able to talk positively about a holiday episode of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, for sure. I saw the rundown for this, and I was like, this doesn't look very good. This looks like some bullshit. A lot of the key wrestlers are kind of getting a night off. A lot of them didn't have to wrestle. Cody Rhodes isn't wrestling. Sami Zayn is on vacation. Uh, yeah, just a lot of the key wrestlers just weren't really involved in. So I was just like, this isn't going to be much. But we got one great match on this show, and a couple other ones that were pretty fun. So we're gonna get all into it. The Creeds had their first chance at the Undisputed Tag Team Championships last night, and they got it in the main event of Raw, and kind of showed out in some respects. So we're gonna get into all of that, guys. Please remember, like the video, comment, send super chats. We'll read them all. The usual stuff. So please make sure to try to do that for us. Just some programming notes. On Sunday, we did an interview with Leo Rush. Leo Rush broke his silence. We haven't heard from Leo in months, and he hadn't wrestled since I think September. So he stopped by the Wrestle Figures channel and he talked about what's been going on with him, what he's been up to, and he also gave us an update on his future and where he stands at everything. It was a very open and honest conversation, and I definitely recommend you check that out if you have the chance, because he really really lays it on as openly and as honestly as he could have. So I thought that was a great conversation. Athena was on the channel on Friday talking to Joe Holbert, and that was a great interview. She kind of gave her thoughts on Ring of Honor and her perspective as a champion and everything. So two really big time interviews we did in one weekend. So definitely check those out if you haven't already. And last night's Russell Pierce Worldwide broke down a big and stacked wrestling weekend full of shows: SmackDown, Collision, and Ring of Honor Final Battle. So we talked about those shows yesterday, and if you missed it, definitely listen to that after the show. I just kind of keep it in mind. But yeah, man, the content train keeps rolling, and it rolls tonight with Monday Night Raw. Rob, do we have any super chats to get to or no?
Oh, one so far.
All right,
We
we'll
have
read it. We'll throw it on.
super chat from Hush 199. Our truth over Chris Jericho in 2023, and it's not close. I'm not agreeing with this.
I don't know. What I do know is our truth moves well for his age, man. This dude, I'm pretty sure he's over 50. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken.
Insane, because he still looks the same as he did 20 years ago.
Yeah, he moves good, man. Like I'm watching him kind of do his like spinning kicks and things like that, and I'm like, man, why? Like, how is he
I
still
don't even.
doing that shit?
I'm not even talking about his move set. I'm talking about like if you go to 2002 NWA and look at him now, you really see no difference other than what he's wearing. And
Yes.
it's insane. Like, and he's liking tweets, and it's very funny because he likes these tweets where it's the truth pretty much that he doesn't have to do much. He gets paid big money just to really not really take bumps, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. It's honestly insane. Uh, Listen, man, there's still some juice in the tank for Ron Killings. I'm sure it helped him that in the last couple of years he's kind of really scaled back on the wrestling. He's just done a lot of like comedy stuff. I'm sure that kind of helped him helped his body. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, he looked good out there. He looked good out there last night against JD, and so good for him. Good for him. I'll tell you this: he hasn't driven me as nuts as Chris Jericho has this year, but they're obviously in completely different places on the card, and
Yeah, I
it's
just
kind of a weird comparison to make.
I just think we talked about it on the Twitch watch long before we get into this next super chat. Jericho just needs to go on another tour. It's time. We need a break from Jericho. So
Yes.
yeah. Um, thank you for the super chat. Hush. Another Hush 199. Anything on the Julius kick out? Was it planned? He didn't kick out.
No. Well, he kicked out at 3.1.
Yeah, like he kicked out at 3, but he didn't kick. See, if you go slow it down, the referee hits the 3 before Julius raises his hand. So
I
wasn't
don't know
planned.
what I don't know. No, I don't know what it was about because to be completely frank with you guys, I slept throughout most of this early afternoon, so I didn't really have time to ask anybody, to be honest. So I'm not sure what happened there to be transparent, but he did kick out at 3.1. And to be honest, when Damian Priest took the Brutus ball, he got crushed like by that Brutus ball, and he looked kind of pissed off. So these are going to be this is part of the growing phase for the Creeds. They're promising, they're young, they're exciting, but at the end of the day, you do have to take care of your opponents, and even though it's part of their appeal, the dangerousness of how they handle people might kind of hurt them internally.
This okay, so this is what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Not asking you for any scoops or anything, just your personal opinion. Do you think that because of what happened last night and because of the result of it, do you think they're going to make them change their finish or no?
Maybe, and I'll tell you what, I don't dislike the Brutus ball, but I actually would prefer if they did like the assisted electric chair blockbuster. Like if Julius got the guy up on his shoulders and Brutus jumped and did a blockbuster on the dude, I think I'd prefer that more. I know
I'd
that.
much I'd even prefer a crossbody or something like
Yeah, I know the Street Profits used to do it, and I'm
yeah.
pretty sure Santana and Ortiz did something like that. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be a Brutus ball every time. I think they should switch it up sometimes, to be honest. So
Because they have a history of doing this because when Kenta came up, he GTS'd Brian Kendrick and like broke his orbital bone, and then so they made him do like a shitty cravat knee breaker. So
yeah,
they'll
yeah,
probably make him change
I
it.
wouldn't be surprised if they made them switch up the finisher. Which again, to me, I wouldn't lose sleep over that because I don't need the Brutus ball to be the move that he ends every match with. So
Right.
we'll see.
Will Chisholm, $5. Have y'all noticed there's a side pocket of Vince McMahon fans saying that Triple H booking is bad? They must not remember 2018 to 2022 and half of 2023.
Bro, I can't take these people. I have very little patience for them. There is a weird pocket of Vince cells that just prefer how Vince was doing things, and I don't think Triple H is by any means a perfect booker. But I don't know how you watch his product if you've actually been following it and watch what Vince McMahon had done in the last couple of years and like act like Vince is a better head guy for WWE's creative team. Um,
It
Again,
blows my mind.
his last couple of years were horrendous. The dog food angle, all the stupid angles that just made baby faces less over. You know, there's a reason why, like around the summer of 2011, 2021, I remember the biggest thing that was so apparent to me was just that like, there's no like, like who are the baby faces, bro? Because the baby faces that existed all like lost and got fucking jobbed out and emasculated. I remember when they came back from the
2020
pandemic,
booking. No,
bro.
not 2020, 50-50.
Yeah, I remember when I came. I remember when they came back to the pandemic from the pandemic. You know, Ricochet's going out there and losing matches, and Keith Lee loses in his hometown and then gets booked inconsistently, and then they change his gimmick. People are getting their names changed. Drew McIntyre's feuding with Jinder Mahal over a sword, you know, um, in a motorcycle or some stupid shit. Like,
Fucking Rhea Ripley having a match against Queen Zelina 2 weeks in a row. And the first match they had, she lost to Zelina in 30 seconds. And then the next week, she beat her in 90.
bro, the
Those
booking
are,
was horrendous. The shows they would do like rematches top to bottom on the card, except the only difference being that the result is different on a different week. Like, oh, if this person won this week, the next week the match happens again and then they lose, and it was just so bad. Like it was horrendous, and
they
anybody
were
trying
they
to
weren't
like
they could barely sell out shows.
that's the
2019
thing.
was the worst year.
There's a reason why they were struggling to sell tickets at this time. It's because this is not a product that's like it's just not an inviting product. It's not a product that welcomes wrestling fans.
Right.
So yeah, fuck that.
For all that shit. Thank you for the super chat, Will. Nightmare LLC, Canadian 279. What is the Punk Triple H dynamic now? What about with Regal?
I don't know what it is with Regal. With Triple H, they're on very good standing. They essentially, before Punk came back, he had to have a really deep conversation with Paul Levesque where they essentially addressed their past issues and got past them. It was pretty much acknowledged that, like, it's a slight elephant in the room that, like the mentality was going to initially be, we'll just, like, from at least Punk's side, it's like, we're just going to do business and, like, not worry about that stuff. But it was important for both sides actually to just kind of like address those issues from the past and kind of get past them and you know shake on it because um, now that they're on the same page, it's led to a very healthy relationship so far, and they have great dialogue and open communication. They've met each other in the middle on multiple things, including how Punk wants to approach his promos on the air. And another thing that I can add is that Triple H is apparently really surprised with how much Punk has moved the needle. Like he knows Punk is a star, but he's like genuinely shocked at how much he's helping business when it comes to adding extra tickets for the house shows, adding extra tickets for the TV tapings, the merchandise, and some of the quarter hours he's popping on the TV episodes. So he's
Uh,
he's he's pleasantly surprised with it, and he's very happy about it. And he's apparently changed up some of the creative plans to reflect how hot CM Punk is.
well, I would like to give all the credit in the world for everything of those things to your tribal chief and your tribal chief on Monday Night Raw, Big Dom Mysterio. He's a really big merch seller. Had the most matches in all of 2023, and so yeah. Shout out to Dom Mysterio for really, really just carrying the torch while the tribal chief is out.
That
Um,
that doesn't even make any sense.
what happened?
That doesn't even
Uh,
make any
what
sense.
happened, bro?
You
uh,
you you are just egregious.
I don't know what you mean. Thank you for the super chat. Alex Diaz, 1990, $2. I think Riddle to TNA and Gunther versus Okada at Mania. No, hell no.
Gunther versus Okada would be crazy. I don't know. I don't really see it, but listen, stranger things have happened in pro wrestling. Um, if Okada is genuinely going to enlist the services of Barry Bloom, it does mean he's seeking to get a big payday in the United States. But my guess would be that um, it would just be to consolidate his New Japan contract, and I think it would be something where he signs with AEW, and they pay for him to just kind of go to New Japan a couple times a year at the big shows, and then he does the rest of his dates in AEW. But I don't know
Bro,
if he went to WWE to face Gunther, that would be just an all timer wrestling match. But I don't see it.
the thing that nobody realizes is AO has touched on this before on here. Okada really does not have to make the big move. He this is the thing. He has a kid. Number one, his wife is way bigger than him in Japan. Number two, so it's just like, what reason would he have to move to make the big move to the United States and just change his entire life around when he's living the perfect lifestyle that he wants to live in New Japan right now?
Hmm.
Besides making the making money part, because of the financial issues of Bushi Road, what would, like, why would he change his lifestyle around just to
I'm
do
I
the
don't know,
same
man.
thing?
I'm not in the mind of I'm not in the mind of Kazuchika Okada, so I couldn't
Yeah.
say either way. The other thing, he says Matt Riddle TNA. I think that is happening. I do think Riddle is probably going to be the big TNA signing that they're talking about. They seem like they had some money on hand to pay for either CM Punk or Will Ospreay, and neither thing is going to happen. So, well, they still have that money. So I'm imagining they're like, fuck it, we need to make a big splash somewhere. And I would not be surprised if they just pay Matt Riddle to fucking be on their program. And
If
yeah,
if Matt Riddle comes to Nashville, he has to come with the long bro hair. You can't, bro. You can't walk in with the theory hair. That no aura.
he cut his hair.
Yeah, bro. He cut his hair. It's like fucking. It's like a short theory cut with like a fucking zigzags in the side of his shit. It's like, bro, you gotta
Sounds like terrorism.
no aura.
Sounds like terror.
Um, thank you for the super chat, Andy. 100 rupees. Raw's had the best written characters and stories in wrestling in 2023, in my opinion. Always enjoyed the show. If Reigns beats Cody again, I'm back to AEW only.
Roman should not beat Cody Rhodes. That would be an all-time blunder. Um,
Ah,
yeah, it would just be horrendous. It would just be horrendous. Uh, as for Monday Night Raw, I'll tell you what, man. There's been a couple high spots. I think absolutely after like SummerSlam and especially post merger when Vince had completely no influence, it's just been a really focused show that's helped get a lot of new people over. And I just enjoy the roster because on any given Monday, I turn on my TV and I get to watch Gunther wrestle, which is an absolute privilege as a fan. I get to watch Chad Gable wrestle or Cody Rhodes or Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for a lot of the year. Uh, you know, so it's the rosters is really good. Ciampa and Gargano got to reunite this year. My favorite wrestler of all time, CM Punk, was signed, and he's on Monday Night Raw, which is obviously a big boost. But yeah, I mean that's just on the wrestling standpoint. From the story standpoint, the writing has improved. Like it's one of those things. It's hard to see when you only drop in for one episode, but they do these like month by month kind of story arcs with these characters, and a lot of it does like progress and move forward and develop. And what they've done with Drew McIntyre is pretty impressive because he was kind of boring in the last like 2 years or so, and the way they've made him interesting is impressive.
yeah, because
So
he was walking around as a sword pervert for 2 years.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And so they've made him an interesting character again. I personally get into the Judgment Day family dynamics. I don't know. I'm sure that's not for everybody, but I get into that stuff. And yeah, the Jay Uso arc when Jay Uso came in and like it affected people and stuff. I thought that was good shit too. Sami Zayn's been awesome all year. So yeah, the character and story stuff on Raw this year has been good, especially in the last third of the year. So there you go.
All right, thank you for the super chat, Andy. Will Chisholm, $5. It's going to be funny when TNA fans think the surprise is Mercedes Monet when when it's actually going to be Matt Riddle.
I want this TNA thing to work out, man. I really do. I
Yeah,
really do. The ticket sales are not promising, and I do think that there's been times recently like where I'm just getting a reminder that it is still Impact. Moose is still a pushed wrestler here. This is still a promotion that doesn't know what they have in like Black Taurus, for example, and
but
it's very frustrating because again, I want to get into this. I want to support this. I want there to be a third option in wrestling, man. It's not. I don't think it's healthy for American wrestling to just be dominated by WWE and AEW because there's too many talented wrestlers that don't really get a chance if that's the system.
But
You
this
know?
is a thing that people realize. This is just TNA being, like Charlie said. This is just TNA being TNA. Like
True.
if TNA was a competent wrestling company, then
It would be
Hernandez would
too.
have been like a 3-time world champion. Fucking Monty Brown would have been a world champion for like a year. Like they've never been a competent wrestling promotion. Now that's not making an excuse for like them putting Brian Myers in a match with Okada, but like you know, it's
Oh,
just
they have Okada and they're putting him in the ring with Brian Myers.
that's kind of fire.
What the fuck? What is this, a tribute show where they're tributing like his time as Okato? Like,
That'd
oh my god. Let's
do the
move on.
same thing. I
I don't
can't
want to. I
care.
don't want to get annoyed. I don't want to get annoyed.
Thank you for the super chat. Hush 199. Will Punk have TV feuds leading into WrestleMania?
Yes.
Heh. Yes, but he will. He's obviously going to have something to do with the Judgment Day, until his thing with Seth, whenever that is. He's facing Dom on the house show circuit, and
December 26th and December 30th.
yes, on the house show circuit at the Garden. They're doing 2 shows, I think, at the Garden, and it's because he just advertised it on CFFC the other day that he's doing a match with Dom on December 30th at the Garden. So, yeah, he is going to be doing stuff with the Judgment Day. Probably who else?
What
Like
happened?
Imperium, shit like that. Yeah.
He's going to be mixing it up with the whole roster. If you couldn't tell by his last Raw appearance, where he interacted with like the entire Raw universe, with the Judgment Day run in, he saw him kind of meet Kofi, Kofi Ricochet, and Chad Gable. We saw him, mentioned by Drew McIntyre, and Drew's been talking shit about him. So like obviously, he's going to be mingling with the wider universe, and you could expect TV feuds of that type of kind until WrestleMania. Absolutely.
Alrighty. Corey David, $2. Y'all think Julius is going solo eventually?
Probably. They're really high on him. I know there's just people there
The
that think
thing
Julius is a what's up.
with guys like Julius, like we discussed last week, you don't have to make him go off on his own as to where he's out of Diamond Mine or Creed Brothers or whatever the fuck they're calling themselves nowadays. You don't have to make them be separate. Like he could literally just be a part of the Nightmare family, and because it seems like that's where this is going. He should be a part of the Nightmare family, and he could just do whatever he wants to do. The thing in wrestling is only certain. Like obviously, we know Judgment Day is gonna break up, but like you can have a New Day level faction where they don't break up and they can do stuff on their own. You know, like they're grown men. They don't have to do everything always. They don't have to fucking break up with everybody and try to be like, oh, I need the success on my own. Like, no.
I agree. I agree. I hated that WWE stigma late, especially late in Vince's time, where it was like, if you're a tag wrestler, you're a tag wrestler, and if your partner got hurt, you were just kind of like taken off the TV, taken off the road, and you couldn't cook. Basically, like that happened to tag guys in WWE, and like if you remember, one of the Viking Raiders like broke his neck in like late 2020, and Vince just took the other one off TV. But now in this regime, one of the Viking Raiders, I believe it's Eric, got hurt, and he's Triple H is just letting Ivar cook and do his thing, and yeah, like I love that's one of my favorite things that AEW did for American TV wrestling is that they just let tag guys do singles matches when the moment calls for it without it affecting the status of the tag team. You know what I mean? In AEW, Ray Phoenix can have singles matches, and it's like it doesn't mean the Lucha Brothers are broken up. It's just they want to do this, and it happens constantly. And so,
If
what's
Vince
up?
was running AEW, then we wouldn't know who Dante Martin is and what he could do because when Darius Martin got hurt, he would have just been off the entire 9 months Darius was hurt. You know,
Exactly,
so
exactly. I hate that shit. So yeah, I mean, look, I long term down the line, could I see Julius Creed being a singles wrestler? Yeah, I mean, look, he's in his early 20s and he has tons of potential, and people in the company see him as a future main event wrestler. But right now, while he's still young and doing stuff with the Creeds, you can just let him have singles matches without breaking the group up. So
yeah. Corey David, another 2. PC baddies going crazy. Everybody getting cuffed in the PC. Hey man. Did you see that picture they put out today?
which one?
It was like Braun and Cora,
Mm-hmm.
um, Thea and what's that nigga's name? Frazier, Soul and Bait, as we saw yesterday. Everybody's freaking out over that yesterday. And then but they just have so many couples in the PC now. And Public Enemy's
Nigga,
joke.
this is
Public
not this isn't NXT, it's NX Tinder, you know.
No,
So
dead ass. Public Enemies joke that hey, they say HBK and Slick, that man trying to build a second generation down there in Orlando, because everybody's just get all these athletes are just getting together, man. So but who knows? Who
good for them.
knows?
Good for them. All right. Anything else? Okay.
Hush 199. There's one more. Hush 199. Will Punk work Saudi? They probably will pay a lot for him.
I don't know. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. There's a pretty decent shot that Phil just says he doesn't want to do it. So we'll find out. We will absolutely find out.
Alrighty, and one more, and the last one for now. Huncho 499. Does anyone know what happens if we get a tie in the C2 that can't be broken with head to head? Imagine if the NFL never told the fans playoff tiebreaker rules.
I'll tell you this: if Jay White beats, believe he's facing Moxley this week, right? Someone has to pull it up for me.
Yes.
If Jay White beats John Moxley, and I think Swerve has to win his match, something like that. There's a scenario that creates a three-way tie coming out of this Wednesday, and if that happens, they're going to do a triple threat match.
Yeah, like, dude, yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm just no. I can understand why people are kind of confused because they haven't really explicitly said it. But yes, there's a scenario right now where we could get a three-way tie with Swerve, Jay White, and Moxley. And if it happens, I'm telling you guys, they're going to do a triple threat match. So there's your answer.
All right, and that is the end of the super chats for now. We we are going to start getting into Monday Night Raw. Any super chats sent after this point will be answered. We will answer kind of towards the end of the review. Remember, guys, please like, subscribe, super chat. Got 100 people in here. Let's try to get them likes up. Make sure, make sure, please, you do comment. Please comment on the video if you're watching.
The chats build up a lot. We'll get through some of them during the middle of the review, but that's totally on you guys. It's up to you guys if you want to continue to flood us with those. But there you go. Hold on a second.
I got the raw results pulled up if you want to start.
Yeah, no, I'm going to pull it up right now. But yeah, it was last night was a Christmas show. Like we said, the last live Raw of the year. And there's a bunch of fucking Christmas trees and stuff on the stage, and Judgment Day came out to open the show. It was the first show opened by Judgment Day in a while, I believe, because since Survivor Series and War Games, they've been a bit de-emphasized on purpose because they're very aware of this whole criticism that the shows were kind of samey and the Judgment Day opened every week. So they kind of scaled back and tried to switch it up with some different things, which is appreciated. But yeah, so they opened up this week and they're kind of cutting their usual Judgment Day promo about dominance and blah, blah, blah. And then R-Truth comes out. And, he comes out and he does his shtick, basically. And essentially, it's the same thing. JD, he thought that him getting beat up last week by the Judgment Day was a gang initiation. So he thought that now he was in the group because of him getting jumped last week. It was not the case. And this was clarified to him. He was kind of like, Damian Priest got a kick out of him. JD McDonough, of course, was just kind of like, man, like, what are you doing? Fuck out of here. You're not in the group, blah, blah, blah. And, R-Truth basically challenged him to a Miracle on 34th Street fight. The crowd pops for it. JD does the thing that I'm glad he's speaking for me. JD was like, I know we're wrestling. The match was advertised earlier today. I'm aware. Because I don't know if you've noticed this, Rob. WWE used to do this sometimes, like where they'd advertise a match on like their social media, right? And then like on TV, they'll shoot an angle for that match and act like it was an announcement on the show. And it's like, we already knew this match was happening. They already put it on Twitter.
Right, we see your social media, brother. We follow you.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
But they'll shoot the angle and be like, I challenge you to this. And it's like, we know they put it on Twitter like 3 hours ago. But yeah, so JD did that, kind of broke the fourth wall there. But yeah, so Archie wanted to raise the stakes and basically said, hey, how about this? Loser leaves Judgment Day. If I beat you, you got to leave Judgment Day. And Rhea Ripley was about to cut it off, like, get the fuck out of here, But Damian Priest essentially was like, yo, hold up, let him cook, because he's not a big fan of JD. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, R-Truth says, what's up? Des Moines, Iowa says, what's up? They start fighting. And Yeah, this kind of overachieved. When I saw the graphic for this, I kind of rolled my eyes. I was like, we don't need this on live TV. And I'm not saying like this is essential viewing or anything like that. Um, but R-Truth is fun. The crowd just really loves him, and that helped this because like they're just so into him and into everything he does. And he basically just kind of throws JD McDonough around and just has him. He's having him break boxes and shit like that. He's just throwing him around all this. It's a plunder match, and R-Truth is getting cheered and he's kicking his butt. Dominic got involved at some points. And yeah, they had a Miracle on 34th Street fight, and they're going back and forth, and Dominic was cheating. But the big surprise was that R-Truth won. He they kind of fall. They're on the top rope. It looks like they're about to do like a Spanish fly or some shit, but they just kind of fall over, and McDonough goes through the table, and R-Truth gets the pinfall. And in theory, JD McDonough is kicked out of the Judgment Day, which is insane. What did you think of all this, Rob? What did you think of this opener?
I thought it was good, because like I said before, one of the reasons why it's always been pretty bad is because we just got these random these holiday episodes have been pretty bad is because we got these random plunder matches like this one that we just talked like you just talked about, and it was just random plunder matches that didn't really have a reason to be had, but it was just the annual Christmas fun, not really funny, but comedic fucking plunder match. But at least with this one, it gave you a reason for it happening. The Judgment Day jumped R-Truth last week, and basically R-Truth is delusional because he thinks, like you said, he thinks he got jumped in, and so he's like, okay, but this week, I think we should do this. If JD loses, then he's out. If I lose, then I'm out. And so I liked that premise of it. I didn't think it was like a barn burner 4 or 5 star match, but it was fun. It was pretty. You could tell it was for the kids, and it was to basically to serve that purpose. A fun match for family and the kids to open Monday Night Raw. So yeah, it was good. It was
There you
good.
have it. Backstage, you saw Caden Carter and Katana Chance, and they said that Chelsea Green and Piper Niven's time is up. They're challenging on this show for the women's tag team championships, and I'm a fan of that team. I'm a fan of that team. I think they're one of the few cohesive women's tag teams on in the company, and that's why I've always kind of thought like maybe you should do a bit more with them because I actually like some of their tandem offense and stuff. But that was the backstage promo with them. We come back and we had another Becky Lynch Nia Jax in ring promo segment. A lot of what they said was reiterated. It was basically reiterating the plot and story beats of the last promo. To be honest, there's not much really new to go over in terms of material. But Becky Lynch basically did say that like Nia Jax's kind of whole reputation is just being the one that like broke the nose of like the greatest of all time. Becky referred to herself as the greatest to ever do this. And she essentially said like that's going to be her legacy, and Nia's legacy is that you're remembered for what you did to me rather than anything you did in your own. But she said she's ready for a fight, and she was ready to fight. And then she was asked, and then Nia was like, "Oh, let's get a referee." And referee Daphne LaShawn runs in, and it looks like we're going to get this impromptu match between Nia Jax and Becky Lynch, but the match never happens because Nia does the typical heel, like, actually, never mind. Like, this is going to be on my terms type of thing. It was later mentioned that this match will happen on day one, which will be the next live Monday Night Raw, January 1st, 2024. It'll be a TV special called Day One, which, if you remember, that was the pay-per-view in 2022. So they're going to make this a big stack special episode. And Becky versus Nia Jax at Day One. Do you have any opinions on this segment, Rob?
I enjoyed the bickering and the bantering back and forth. Of course, as a brand of wrestle purists, at least the WWE enjoyers section, Nia good now. So and Becky Lynch is still at the top of her game, e- way beyond half the women on this show, and so this should be a good match. I don't see it being a bad match.
It'll have
And
heat. It'll have heat. I'll
yeah,
take that.
absolutely, because the crowd loves Becky and
Hmm.
they just hate Nia. So yeah.
For sure. Backstage, we were with Kofi Kingston, DIY, and The Miz. It was Kofi Claus who came in and he ran into DIY and asked them what they wanted for Christmas. He gave them a Yeet shirt, a Jey Uso WWE shop branded Yeet shirt. Johnny Gargano remarked that his son loves Jey Uso and he loves Yeet. So There you go. That's a shoot, by the way. Johnny Gargano's kid legitimately loves Jey Uso.
Yeah.
But so Kofi Claus passes by, gives them some gifts. Ciampa looks kind of unamused by this. Really funny. And then we pan over the Miz, and Gargano basically wishes Miz the best of luck because Miz is facing Gunther on this night for the Intercontinental Championship. And if he loses, he will never be able to challenge for the Intercontinental Championship again as long as Gunther is a champion. But Miz kind of like he daps up Johnny. Ciampa teases like he still has issues with the Miz dating back to last year, but he basically says, "Hey man, like do your best or whatever." So it was all good vibes there. They walk away, and then Miz cuts a promo on Gunther. He said that Gunther that the championship is the only thing that makes you interesting, and that the pressure is actually on you, not him. Um, he said that Gunther. This is the first time he's brought out any personality was when he was kind of feuding with him and stuff. So he was talking his shit. And then right after that promo, we went right into Miz versus Gunther. Miz's music hits first. He comes out. Gunther comes out next. And I don't know about you, Rob. I thought this match was incredible. I thought this match was absolutely sensational. Gunther has the best heel control segments in American wrestling. And so it's just so compelling to see him work over a dude and chop him up and beat his ass. And so it was just interesting to watch from that standpoint. Miz, on his end, his physicality was much better than it was at Survivor Series. When it comes to the kicks and the chops and the elbow strikes, he laid it in this time compared to last time. And, it felt like a fight from that standpoint. It felt less farcical than it did at Survivor Series. Back and forth match. They're going back and forth and stuff. This went through 2 different commercial breaks. This was a 3-segment wrestling match. One of the key spots coming out of the second commercial, before the second commercial break, was Gunther goes for a chop on the outside on Miz. Miz ducks and Gunther chopped the ring post, and he's like, hand is paralyzed. And so for the rest of the match, Gunther's working at the disadvantage of not having his chopping hand. And so he has to kind of work around it. And you're seeing Gunther try to come up with offense where he has to avoid using his main right hand. And Miz kind of exploited that, and he kicked his hand a lot. He worked the hand. He did some submissions and things like that. Gunther did a cravat SDF, which looked fucking sick. I thought he was doing some jujitsu on this dude. But this was a back and forth match. Some great bombs were traded. Miz had a couple of cool snap DDTs. He got Gunther with the skull crushing finale. I was panicking. I was sweating. I was shitting, crying, and throwing up. But Gunther kicks out of the skull crushing finale. Gunther got him with a power bomb that Miz kicked out of, and then eventually Gunther finds himself at the second rope. Miz sets him up and gets him up for a super skull crushing finale, and Miz can't make it over to like turn over his body to pin
So
Gunther.
I know when he hit that, you were like, you
Oh, I was
started
shitting. I was
panicking.
shitting bricks. I was shitting bricks. He tries to pin Gunther. Gunther rolls out of the ring, and then Miz is trying to get him. He goes to the outside. Miz gets back inside. No, sorry. Gunther gets back inside. Miz, when he gets back in the ring, he gets hit with a power bomb. And then Gunther rolls him back up, does a ripcord lariat. Boom. And then picks him up again. Tenryu style, Genichiro Tenryu style, folding power bomb. And then gets him with the 1-2-3. Fucking sick combination to close out an excellent Intercontinental title defense. This had so much stakes because of the stipulation. This had a great crowd. I thought the back and forth action was better than the Survivor Series match. And in the moment, I thought this is the best singles match I've seen. And I might stick to that. I think the only other options are the Seth Rollins match at Backlash, which I would take this over, or the Dolph Ziggler No Mercy match. But regardless of where you stand on that, I mean, Gunther just what a way to punctuate his year, because he's had an incredible in-ring year. And to end it off with an excellent title defense against The Miz here before he goes on his break is I mean, shout out to him, man. He's just tremendous. I thought this was fantastic. What did you think, Rob?
I expected this from Gunther because, as you know, he was our agreed upon WWE Men's MVP. So I pretty much expected this from him. But like, it's time, man. It's time to give the Miz his credit. Now, look, he's not the best in ring wrestler 90% of the time. But when you put him in there against a guy that will force him to work, such as Seth, such as the Miz, no, not the Miz, such as Dolph. He has a good match with Jeff Hardy on on a SmackDown in 2018. And when you put him in a match with a guy who can like force him to work and force him to really wrestle, he does. He always does good, man. He did. I didn't like the Survivor Series match. I thought it was cool, but I thought like it was basically it was showing that Miz was basically underestimating Gunther. And then so the way this match went, it got more physical because now the Miz knows Gunther's strength. He knows what he can do. He knows how hard Gunther actually hits. And so now he's like, okay, in order to try to beat him, I have to match that physicality. And so that's why you saw him last night getting more physical, doing whatever it is he had to do to get him. And so it was just like, I'm tired, man. We got it. It's finally time to admit it. He's not the best he's not top 10, he's not top 20, he's not top 50. He's not even not top 250 wrestlers in the world. It's time to stop acting like Miz is a terrible, horrendous professional wrestler. It's time.
I think Miz sucks,
Time.
but he makes it work sometimes. Is what I'll say. He makes it work sometimes. And I'll tell you this: I was very close-minded about this feud when it started, because when you have Gunther on the roster, you just want to see him mix it up with the better wrestlers, right? But what I will say is that the contrast of these two guys' characters led to some interesting storytelling. And so between that contrast that was drawn, I think it kind of allowed for Gunther to get more of his personality out. And he's just become a complete performer. He's already like one of the best wrestlers in the world, and frankly, one of the best wrestlers of his generation. But now, like, I feel like he's just becoming a more solidified villain in the WWE sphere. And coming out of this feud, I feel like he's ready to just be like one of the top heels in the entire company overall. So I'm ready for that to happen. I'm excited for Gunther's future in his 2024. And
Yes.
after the match, he talked with the Imperium guys, and they're congratulating him, and he was like, "Yo, I don't know why you niggas are applauding me, because I had a great year, but you guys didn't." So, and he told him, "I'm going to take some time off, and in the meantime, I want you guys to impress me and to show out." And so I hope this is a vehicle for Kaiser and Vinci to get more on the same page and kind of get heated up. Because what I would like is for Imperium to run WWE in 2024.
Yeah.
So that was that.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was the backstage. We got a Creed Videos hype package, just hyping them up for the match in the main event. That was a good, well-produced package. Shinsuke Nakamura, this was the Nightmare Before Christmas. Nakamura was seen with this book with Cody Rhodes on the Cody Rhodes' Nightmare logo on it, and it was like doing this whole "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" thing. And he's telling this story that it's to the he's kind of shitting on Cody Rhodes and stuff like that. And so he's reading the story, and then I'm thinking, like, what is this fucking hokey nonsense? But then Cody Rhodes comes in and interrupts and crashes the scene and beats the shit out of him, and then takes him to the backstage area and beats the shit out of him some more. And I'm thinking, okay, so this is like a backstage brawl that they filmed, pre-taped, because Cody's not there. But then we find out this is live because Cody drags this dude's ass out the arena and has a killer brawl with him.
This fucking beast.
This ruled, and it's because of Cody. And I gotta say, I told this to Monty, but Cody's like one of the best guys in the business at the brawling angles. Like, a lot of guys don't know how to do work punches. A lot of guys don't have the right level of effort or whatever you want to call it, fire in these angles. They don't put the same amount of effort in this as they do in the ring. Cody Rhodes puts a lot into this. His worked punches, the way like he conveys chaos. It's just great. So this turned into a big pull apart thing. He's fighting through security guards trying to get to Shinsuke. He's standing on the announce table. He tried to crossroad Shinsuke on the announce table. Shinsuke made his escape. His clothes, his shirt got torn off. So this was a good angle. I thought this was a good angle.
I loved it. And it's kind of like a Cody verse esque thing. And it's like that's why I think the Cody verse is gonna work a lot better in WWE than it did in AEW. Because and I touched on it during the weekend after when I tweeted about it after Collision. With the stuff that Cody wants to do in the Codyverse works better here than it does in AEW, because a lot of the stuff that he wants to do in the Codyverse is very, very sports entertainment esque. And so when you put it in WWE where it can get over because it's sport, when you put it in AEW, excuse me, where it's very professional wrestling esque and they tell stories through professional wrestling, it's kind of like people. That's why people were looking at it like, "What the fuck? Like, what are we doing here?" Whereas in WWE, you can do stuff like this and it gets over like it did last night because it's very, very sports entertainment oriented and it's very sports entertainment esque. And I thought that's why I thought it went over very well. So
There you go. After this angle, we got a backstage bit with Adam Pierce, Chelsea Green, and Piper Niven. Uh, Actually, we started out. Sorry, Pierce was backstage with Tozawa, and Pierce asked Tozawa, "Is this really the match he wants?" Tozawa says yes and runs off. Green and Piper Niven come in and ask for their match to be canceled. He says no, and the match is up next. Green yells that she is going to talk to Nicholas Aldis. They leave, and in comes Bronson Reed. He is interested in another Intercontinental Championship opportunity, and yeah, so there's a lot of teasing for something going off the Intercontinental title. Rob, we clocked this a while ago. We noticed this, right? Where it's like Kofi, it was Kofi, Ricochet, and Gable were going into the office last week. Gunther a few weeks ago was talking to Pierce about the future of his championship. Now Bronson is kind of staking his claim again, and he had a win last week to kind of get him back in strong standing. Ivar this week got a win to kind of get him back on the winning track. So they're cooking something up with this belt. I don't know if it's a tournament. I don't know what it's going to be, but clearly they're setting up a lot of guys as contenders, and they're going to do something here to create, I guess, a new contender for Gunther before he gets back because he's going to be gone for
Hey,
a couple weeks.
hey,
So,
man, R1 baby, let's do it. R1, let's get it started. We got
what's the R for?
Raw, the Raw
Oh,
one,
the
baby.
Raw.
Let's do it. We got how
call
many
it
weeks till?
call it the Intercontinental Championship Grand Prix.
Yeah, oh that too. Listen, let's do it, man. We got fucking how many weeks till Royal Rumble?
Like
Bro, you can get
like
it done.
five
Yeah, like you can get it done, dude. Like you
for
don't have to.
sure.
You can start it at day one Raw, or you can start it the week after day one Raw, or you don't even have to do it at just. We need something. We don't need the same thing that SmackDown is doing with a tournament because then you just have Nick Aldis being like, "Oh, you copied me," you know. So
Well,
let's
actually, for
just
that reason, you could do it. Actually, just to kind of further all this Pierce rivalry, if you
oh
wanted
you
to.
could you oh you could. That's right. That's right.
And
I
it'd
forgot
be one
about
of those
that.
things where Pierce is like, "Well, my tournament's been better, and it's more detailed because it's a round robin. If you want to do it that way." Regardless, it's clear they're cooking something up with that, and I'm looking forward to it because it'll give an option. It'll give an avenue for a lot of those good mid card guys to get in the ring and have good matches, like Chad Gable and Ricochet and Kofi and these types of dudes.
Elliot Fletcher said, as you said 2 weeks ago, the Gunther Grand Prix.
The Gunther Grand Prix. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Um, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven defended their women's tag team championships against Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. I thought this match overachieved. I thought it was pretty good, honestly. Chance and Carter are, I've been saying it, man, they're a nice team. They do some nice, cool combination tandem offense. And again, Piper Niven is just good. And so her working with the smaller girls and throwing them around and doing her big girl offense like the Vader bomb and the suplexes. And then you got Katana Chance and Piper Niven, and Kaden. They're doing their, like I said, their combination moves. This came together. It went through a commercial break, and the crowd got into it by the closing stretch. They got really into this match, and they popped because the girls did their finishing move, which was like a draping, like a 450 splash, like an assisted draping 450 splash on Chelsea Green. I think they call it the after party or something like that. And they won the women's tag team championship. So they did do one title change on this show for the Christmas, before Christmas, and it was this one right here. So congratulations to Kaden and Katana. They win the women's tag team championships. I thought the match was pretty good. There you have the Triple H picture with the point. In my opinion, I think that they wanted to get the belts on a babyface team because they're going to be the ones to drop this to the Kabuki Warriors. I believe that Kyrie and Asuka are going to win these belts off of these women sooner rather than later. But for what this was, I thought this was a thumbs up. I thought this was a good match. What did you think, Rob?
I loved this match for the simple fact that I've always seen. I mean, recently because of the aura that they've had on Raw and them trying to be. I just don't believe the whole rave thing. I said it. I said certain things in the group chat that had to take place before I believed that they actually went to raves. But nevertheless, jokes aside, I've known that these two were good tag teams since earlier this year. They have a crazy match for no reason, good match with Nikita and Zoe Stark on an NXT from like earlier this year, pre Mania. So I've always been a supporter of these two. I think Katana Chance, good flips, and I really loved Chelsea. I don't like that a lot of these makeshift seemingly thrown together tag teams don't do actual tag team moves or tandem moves until their final match together. Like they Chelsea Green and Piper did this cool move where Chelsea hit her with a lung blower and then held her there, and then Piper did like a running senton onto I think it was Katana or Caden. I'm not really sure which one it was, but it was just like they were doing these tandem moves, and so it's good. It was good. I like this decision to give it to these guys because, of course, you said they're gonna lose them to the Kabuki Warriors. So, speaking of women, it's just reported a few minutes ago that Charlotte Flair has re-signed with the WWE, and it is said to be. Hold on, it is said to be one of the biggest contract extensions for a woman in WWE
Oh
history.
my God, they gave her 5 mil.
They gave her the big money.
They gave Charlotte 5 mil,
Let's go, big money, Ashley.
and she gets to chill with the knee injury. That's
Big
crazy.
money, Ashley.
They gave Charlotte a huge contract extension after her big knee injury. That's crazy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Telling y'all.
That's insane. That's insane.
Alrighty.
Well, good for her, man. Good for her. It appears, Rob, that they're finally starting to extend some people. They extended Dominic yesterday and Rey Mysterio, and now Charlotte's here. So they're now starting to take care of their roster members and taking care of this. So the next on the agenda is Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, and Sheamus. Now, Becky Lynch today said that she will be with WWE for the rest of her career. I don't know if you saw that. It was the interview today, and she basically said, like, I'm going to end my career here. So if she's to be believed, um, it sure seems like she plans on signing some type of extension. So let's see how long that takes to get wrapped up. What I'm curious about is how they're going to handle Sheamus. So we'll see about him. We'll see if they gave him his money. But right now, their priority is wrapping up those extensions and seeing if they could land Mercedes, Julia, and I guess in the pie in the sky option, Kazuchika Okada.
Hey
So
man, WWE. I don't know if y'all seen it, but WWE is in Julia's Instagram bio on her actual account. So
what that means nothing. That means nothing.
listen.
It means
You're so
absolutely
mad.
nothing.
You're so mad.
I don't care. I'm just saying it doesn't mean anything.
Aw. Um, but yeah, Charlotte is definitely you definitely got the 5 mil. Do you think she got 5 mil a year?
She might have gotten 5 mil a year.
5 years. She got the big 5 year,
They said it's one of
25
the
year.
biggest women's deals. I know Becky was the highest paid woman. After her run as the man, she signed like an extension. I remember, and I think it was like in the 3 million range. Uh, so we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know what Charlotte was making before, but we'll see. If it's five, that's crazy. Roman used to make five until his newest deal, his new part time deal that he has, where he makes like around seven, I think, something like that, 7, 8. So we'll see. Anyways, so yeah, Caden and Katana won the women's tag team championships. After that, we had a backstage segment with Ivy Nile in the Alpha Academy. Ivy Nile was working out, and the Alpha Academy were looking on. Maxine was thanking Ivy for helping her last week. Um, Ivy was talking about wanting to have a match with Rhea Ripley, and she said that she wanted to be the women's champion in 2024. So good for her. I hope Ivy really kind of gets over as a singles wrestler. Um, Tozawa came in and said he had a match tonight against Ivar, and Chad Gable explained that when I told you to go big, I didn't mean that big. So the thing with Tozawa is he keeps asking for these fights that are maybe above his pay grade, and he ends up like getting his ass kicked. But if you notice, Rob, in these matches that Tozawa is kind of picking out for himself, he's he's lasting longer and longer in these matches. If you notice, like before, it was like you would get squashed by these guys, but now he's kind of going back and forth a bit. And we'll see with this one that he kind of took the fight a little bit to Ivar, but we had another backstage thing with Katana and Kaden. They were just celebrating with the women's division. They got congratulated by Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. Kofi Claus walks by. It's just stuff. The big takeaway from this backstage segment is that Natalya and Tegan Knox, as well as Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, are both eyeing the women's tag team championships. And it was announced later tonight or later on that night that they're gonna have a match on the day one Raw that'll clearly determine the next contender for the women's tag titles. So there you have that.
I'm not gonna say which tag team should give it up. I'm not gonna say where they're from. If they're international, I'm not gonna say, but I'm just putting it out there. you know. But next we had
Ivar,
Ivar Tozawa. What
yeah.
did you think about this, Ibu?
Yeah, it was a cool little like 4 minute match. Tozawa is good. He's always been good. So it was cool that he got some offense in. He's getting more and more over in this role. And then Tozawa did the job to Ivar. They wanted Ivar to get back on the winning column because again, he's going to be involved in this Gunther thing that they're doing. And as for Tozawa, again, like I said, it turned from him getting squashed to him being like in a match that's 2 minutes, then it's 3 minutes, now it's four. So he's getting more and more in. I'd like him to get to a place where he's just a straight up viable undercard guy on the show, and I think that's where we're getting to. So it was a fine little 4 minute match.
Okay. So
After this, we got a recap of the CM Punk Seth Rollins segment. With it's just they just played the highlights of it while interspersing some clips of his past run. After this, we got a Seth Rollins promo, and he was in Iowa, and there was a lot to this, but basically, he was just in Iowa. He's in his hometown. He he said that he had a lot to say. He said that after last week's conversation, he's more motivated than ever to be the best world champion in the industry. He's talking about Drew McIntyre, who he's going to face at day one. And Drew came out, and Drew cut a very heartfelt promo. The gist of his promo was basically that I'll read it here. Drew said he isn't here to fight. He instead said that he was proud of Seth Rollins. He said that so many people in the back were kissing ass when it came to CM Punk, but what Seth did last week was what a real leader does. Drew said that he was finally able to visit his family and started to do some self-reflection. He saw his family getting older. He started to wonder if it was all worth it. Drew said Seth can understand because Becky deals with the same thing. Becky deals with the same thing that Drew is dealing with having family overseas. Drew says all they want to do is come home when their family is sick, like his mom or Becky's dad, but their family tells them don't come home, chase your dream. But he said now that family isn't here anymore. So Drew doesn't want Seth's title. He needs that title. He needs it as validation to show that all the sacrifices he made weren't for nothing. And so that was kind of his big promo. Seth Rollins looked kind of conflicted and emotionally confused by this. And Seth told Drew, he said, I want to take what you're saying to heart, but your actions haven't been consistent. Seth asked Drew, what makes him think the outcome will be any different at day one versus Crown Jewel? He said, okay, great. You'll do whatever it takes. You'll cheat. But the problem is Drew McIntyre refuses to do the one thing that a world champion needs to do, and that's take responsibility for their actions. And he ended with the quote saying, the only person keeping Drew McIntyre from being world champion is Drew McIntyre. Seth said, he said that last week I looked the man in his eye and told him I hated him, is referring to CM Punk. He said, here, I don't hate you, I pity you, which is reminiscent of Hangman Page's line to CM Punk a year ago. But yeah, and so that was Seth's big line, and then they kind of get into a bit of a schmaz and they fight, and Drew gets the upper hand there. But that was the promo segment. What did you think of this, Rob?
I also liked this promo segment. I love that Drew McIntyre hasn't. I love that each and every week it adds a new layer to what his complaints and what his problems are. Like at first it was just Jey Uso and family, but now he's added a new layer onto it, basically being like, "Yo, Seth, you don't understand what I go through. Your wife understands what I go through, but you don't understand what I go through. Like I don't get to see you get to go to just come here to Iowa to see your family." Or go to wherever the fuck your family lives to see your family, right? You get to do all that, and that's fine and that's cool. I don't ever get to see my family. I have to make time out and take and make plans and take time off to go travel and go see my family. And so I like that he added that part to his promo this week instead of the same old family, Roman Reigns,
The bloodline
Usos,
screwed me out of my
the
title.
bloodline screwed. Seth, you don't understand what it takes. I have to go take time off to go see my family. Like I just
Exactly.
so I
Yeah, good.
liked it.
It was a good segment. I think Drew is a very layered character. I think, and he's not necessarily black or white, but given where he is with his character. I think he does. Like, I know this is going to sound crazy. I wouldn't be opposed to him beating Seth at day one, and then Seth maybe winning the belt back at the Rumble.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't really know you. I just because it's just like he just looks like a total loser if he just straight up loses again. You
yeah.
know, the last time he lost big, it was a vehicle for his character development. He lost at Crown Jewel, and it led to him fully joining with the Judgment Day, and then turning heel. Now, if he loses, now what? What does it mean for him? What is
I
it going to
think
lead to for him? So,
that, and I agree because I think that the time for 4 or 5 fucking like 2 year fucking reigns, it's over with. That time needs to stop because we already have a world champion that's basically held the belt for 3 years, going on 4 now, right? And so we've already basically had this guy holding the title for years on years. WWE When WWE was hot, especially during the Attitude Era, the WWE title used to flip flop all the time. Remember, halftime heat, Mankind won the title, and then I think he lost it to him. No, he won the title on January 4th on that
yes.
one infamous episode of Nitro and Raw,
And
and
then
then
and
he
then
lost it
Mick lost it at the Rumble.
lost it at the Royal Rumble, and then he won it back at halftime heat, and then he lost it back again. I think it was like No Way Out or some shit. But
Mhm.
yeah, like we need to go back to that time period where we don't do title switches every week like WCW 2000, but you can switch a title and have it on a guy for 2 or 3 weeks, or be a transitional champ for a little bit. So yeah,
Here,
I agree with you in the sense that Drew should win this title match because it makes it look like a bitch if he doesn't.
yeah. Look, my whole thing is I don't mind a long title reign to establish the belt. Like with this new championship, they wanted to really make it as prestigious as possible because at the end of the day, it's like those fans are going to see it as a secondary world heavyweight championship to Romans. So Seth Rollins establishing it, I get that, and using Seth and Punk's program to elevate the belt, I totally get that too. I think they should main event night one, but again, it's here and there doing quick flips like what the one we're describing here. I don't think it'll come at the detriment of anything. So um, I wouldn't be opposed to Drew McIntyre just winning the belt as long as Seth Rollins gets it back at the Rumble, just to create some extra intrigue and to also help out Drew McIntyre in that respect. Because I think it'd be borderline character assassination if he just straight up lost clean and we didn't know where he was going after that. But we'll see how it goes. The next segment was Kofi. Sorry, it was backstage. It was the Creed brothers. Cody Rhodes basically just kind of wished them good luck on their championship match, and he thanked them for saving him last week on Raw.
Hey,
And,
I know you see it, brother.
he dapped them up, and then when he walked out, they were like, "Oh, that's Cody Rhodes. He's the GOAT. That's why he's the GOAT." So they're Cody fanboys, and it's clearly this is going to lead to a partnership of some kind at some point down the line. Off air on Raw, Cody Rhodes is with the Creed brothers giving out Christmas trees. So I do think these kids are going to be part of the new Nightmare family, and I'm into that. I co-signed that one. So
What do you think the current NF though, if they're not already Nightmare Family? What do you think that stands for? Because if they're not they haven't been like touted as Nightmare Family yet. Did they wear the wrong jackets or something?
who knows? Maybe it's a Easter egg. All I do know is that I think it's pretty clear that ultimately they're going to be with Cody Rhodes in some type of trio. So I'm looking forward to that. We had Kofi Kingston giving presents to the live audience, and then Imperium jumps Kofi to try to make a big statement. And then Kofi gets saved by Jey Uso. Jey Uso asks for an impromptu match with Ludwig Kaiser. We come out of the break, and Ludwig Kaiser's facing Jey Uso in a wrestling match. And I'll tell you what, Yeet has saved Jey Uso's bump card because now that Yeet is a thing, all he has to do for the duration of his wrestling matches is just throw punches because these fans are just going to say Yeet for everything he does, for every punch, and he can literally do that for the majority of the matches. For the majority of the match, especially if it's just a run of the mill hour 3 Raw match like this one with Ludwig Kaiser. Not much to this. They kind of just went back and forth. Jay did Yeet punches. Kaiser would get some stuff in back and forth, but ultimately Kofi Claus came back out to kind of fight Giovanni Vinci on the outside. Ludwig Kaiser ate a spear from Jey Uso, and then Jey Uso won. And then him and Kofi were celebrating in the ring. They obviously have the connection from the Usos and New Day and all their history and stuff, and they have mutual respect. But yeah, Jey Uso saves Christmas for the live crowd, and Again, Kofi gives some stuff to the live audience, and that was that. I don't really have much to say on this. Do you, Rob?
No, not really. I kind of was like, why is this match going on? But then, like, getting ready for the review, I didn't realize that the reason why they jumped Kofi was because he gave them Cole earlier in the night.
Right.
So I was just like, why is this happening? But then getting ready for the show, I realized why it happened, and it wasn't a bad match. And then basically, it gets Jey Uso in a position feuding with Imperium, with at
Mm-hmm.
least beginning a feud with Imperium, to
Mm-hmm.
where maybe Jey Uso enters this tournament or whatever is going on with the Intercontinental title. Because if you notice, he's interacting with Imperium and he's interacting with Kofi Kingston, somebody who's also starting to get ready to go for the Intercontinental title. And so, do you run? This is my question to you: do you run Jey Uso versus Gunther at the Royal Rumble for the Intercontinental Championship?
I don't know. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind. I'm not going to turn down any Gunther match. So if they want to do that, I'm all for it. I just want to
Because this is
quickly
this.
want to quickly do an update. So Rob, someone from WWE is watching this podcast, and he texted me to simply clarify that Roman Reigns makes over $10 million. So I guess they wanted that known. So there you go. Roman makes over.
Hey, yeah. We don't do 3 million for no reason.
That's insane. That's
We
an
don't
insane
do three
contract.
million. They don't do 3 million no more on SmackDown. Why? Because we went home.
I guess so. Yeah, there you go. And yeah, I can see Jey Uso. I think he even said in an interview that he'd like to work Gunther and go for the Intercontinental Championship. I hope he's not the one to beat Gunther, especially since he already has the Mania match set. His match is going to be against Jimmy, and that has enough juice as a personal feud. Doesn't need a championship. Gunther, I think his title win is going to be delayed, his world title win, because Punk and Rollins are going to be fighting for that. So if Gunther just holds his belt to Mania to fight maybe Chad Gable, I'd be cool with that. Or he could drop to Gable at the Rumble, Gunther that is, and then he just has a non-title feud with Brock Lesnar. That also could work for me. So I'm not opposed to any of those options. So there you have it. What else do we have here? We had a backstage segment with Judgment Day. This was key. Basically, Dom was making fun of JD. Priest was basically like, "All right, bro, you got to get out, man. You got to get out of here." And he was like, "Come on, man. You're really gonna kick me out, man. You're gonna kick me out. Don't kick me out." And he pointed out like it wasn't an official stipulation. R-Truth just made it up like right before the match. It's bullshit. Rhea Ripley and Priest went back and forth on it, and then Priest was like, "Come on, man. You're obviously not kicked out for now." It was one of those things where basically he's not out, but like the pressure's on him to continue to deliver and all that type of stuff. So he's not kicked out of the Judgment Day, which I mean, good for him. When I saw the result and I found out that he's kicked out, I was talking to Monty, and I'm like, are they gonna fire this dude? What's going on here? It's kind of weird. Like, what is he gonna do on his own? But no, it was just a vehicle to have this segment, and they're obviously gonna just play around with this for a couple weeks.
So,
Um,
so this is my question to you. Another question. Do you think that they because Damian Priest has the world title? Do you think they transition Finn into the Intercontinental title or Dom? And then do you think they put JD into the Speed division? That is, if the Speed division is multi-branded, or
I
a
could
flip
see
flops
that.
back and forth.
I could see this.
Because the way the dynamic seems to be going to me is the Judgment Day has different layers, which I like factions that has different layers like this. You have one
Mhm.
guy going for the world
Tears.
title. Yeah, different tiers. World title, mid card title, tag titles, and then you have the guy, the lowest guy either switch out for the tag team title, or you have him going for the cruiserweight title or the speed title. So I don't know.
Yep. Backstage. I mean, not backstage. We had the main event. Sorry. And this was the Judgment Day versus the Creed brothers. Now you kind of went nuts on Twitter and giving this 4.25. You're a bit of a hype monger there, but yeah. So these guys had about a 20-minute main event match. There's a lot of heat at the beginning, a lot of heat. And one of the things that I've noticed about the Creed brothers is Their matches get good in the second and third acts because in the second act they can do their strength feats, and in the third act they go absolutely fucking nuts, and they start doing all kinds of crazy, just mutant level athleticism and cool things like that. Um, in the beginning of their matches, they're just selling a lot, and I don't think they're quite adept at that. And I almost think going forward in the future, the move would be to just go full Steiner Brothers with them. And what I mean by that is it was realized pretty quickly with the Steiner Brothers that like, why don't we just fully lean into their strength, the strengths as meatheads, as guys that do explosive stuff, and just cut out the other shit. And so by like 1991, the Steiners would just have these 12-minute matches where they're just throwing people around, doing slams, suplexes, things like that. But nevertheless, this match was 20 minutes roughly, and it really got going after the last commercial break. Coming out, and then in those final 6 minutes, you got a lot of really cool and dynamic things. Julius Creed did his moves his hot tag where he does all those like belly to belly kip ups, which is really fun, and the crowd got into that. Brutus is just doing all these fucking Hulk smash things and all that kind of stuff. And then you got a bunch of like set pieces where all four guys just doing all kinds of combo moves. Rhea Ripley tried to get involved, and Ivy Nile got her up in an electric chair and threw her into the apron. They tried to get, I believe it was Finn Balor for a Brutus Ball. They got him for it. Damian Priest broke up the pin. They eventually got Damian Priest for a Brutus Ball. Finn Balor broke up the pin with a double foot stomp. Julius Creed at some point runs up the turnbuckles and does a senton dive to the outside onto Damian Priest, which is unhinged with no regard for his safety of any kind. But yeah, Priest got crushed with a Brutus Brawl, and like I said, Finn Balor broke that up, and ultimately Balor got the Sling Blade, and what's it called? Damian Priest. He got Julius Creed up for South of Heaven, and they won the match. I thought this was a good main event match. It was a good showing for the Creeds. They showed why people like them, and what I said on Twitter at the time, which I still feel now, is that they're rough around the edges. They're not completely polished, but that's okay.
Yes.
I like that WWE just took a team from NXT that's promising, that they believe in, and they threw them into the deep water, and they gave them a committed push on the main roster. And you're watching them learn and grow right before your eyes. I think it's okay to do that. Not everybody has to be the most over polished guy. Most of the main roster are these guys who are total pros in the ring. They're guys who are like around 40 years old. They've been around the block. They know what they're doing, right? But there's almost a roboticness to that sometimes, where it's like these guys are just kind of, I don't want to say going through the motions, but they've been here before. They know what they're doing. And seeing the Creed just kind of like come on the show with that roughness, it just brings this kind of this intrigue, this youthful energy. It's exciting to follow and follow their journeys and support them. So I'm really happy with what they've been doing with this call up. I think it's been very well handled, and I hope they do more call ups like this. To be honest with you, I think it helps the show. It makes it more interesting. And again, you got to get more youth on the roster. So yeah, this is a good piece of business, and I thought the main event was good. What did you think, Rob?
I loved the main event. I have been a fan of the Creeds since they were on towards the end of Black and Gold, when they were just going out there. I've always compared them to the Steiners in the sense that when the Steiners started, they were just doing whatever they wanted out in the ring and doing whatever they could do, but they were like entirely green. And so like they were kind of like the Creeds in a sense that they would do all these crazy moves, but you could tell they weren't polished, like they weren't, how would you say, like they were still kind of green, but it was fire that they were green. And so I am scared though that because of this match and fucking Brutus falling on Damien's skull and everything, I am scared that they're gonna make them slow down and do less of their offense, because their offense is what gets them over. And so I don't want them to look at what happened with Priest, and then basically be like, "Yeah, you guys gotta slow down a little bit," and this that, and the third. But other than that, I thought it was the perfect way to get the Creeds over. And no, the Julius Creed did not kick out. He kicked out at 3.1. He did not kick out at 2.9. If you slow it down, you'll see the referee hit the 3 on the mat, and that's when Julius kicks out. So
Real wrestler, if you ask me. Yeah, so that was a good main event. That was a good main event, and Raw, like I said, I didn't expect much out of this Raw. It's a holiday show; those tend to be pretty bad, and the lineup didn't look really really interesting on paper. But I thought it was a good show. And yeah, next week looks to be a bit of a clip show. I think they're not doing any live episode, and nothing was taped. This week's SmackDown is a taped episode with they're doing Santos Escobar versus Bobby Lashley U.S. title tournament, Carmelo Hayes versus Kevin Owens U.S. title tournament, Dragon Lee versus Butch for the North American Championship. That should be really good. And they're doing an 8-woman Holiday Havoc match. This is Kairi Sane, Io Sky, Bailey, who am I forgetting? Asuka versus Mia Yim, Shotzi, Bianca Belair, and Zelina Vega. So SmackDown looks to be a fun show. And that'll be this Friday. That's a taped episode. And then after this week, no Raw next week, like I said. So there you have it. But that was the Raw review, and we're gonna wind down now with the last couple super chats. So guys, this is our last chance to get these super chats in, and we're gonna read these and then sign off. So Rob, take it away.
Let's do it. Andy, 100 rupees. Preach, Ibu. Judgment Day politics rule. What are TK's influences on Triple H's booking? What areas of Ospreay's game have developed that Ricochet hasn't?
What areas of Ospreay's game have developed where that Ricochet hasn't? He's developed a heavyweight physique, and he's become a very competent talker. That's pretty much what the difference there. I think Ricochet's a really good wrestler, and I take Ospreay over him in the ring, but I also think Ospreay has more opportunities to showcase this, whereas Ricochet has to kind of do what he can do in the mid-card role every so often. Ospreay gets to be a main event wrestler everywhere he goes. So, that's why there's a gap in the output. But I do think Ricochet is awesome, and if he was platformed similarly, he would also produce great work. But Ospreay's ahead of him because of the promo and because of the body. So that's kind of the deal there.
All right. Let's go to another super chat. Thank you for the 100 rupees, Andy. Hunter 199. Ibu, Naya or Willow?
Oh, Willow Nightingale's a better wrestler. Are you kidding me?
I don't think he does. Do you mean wrestling or like I don't?
I'm taking Willow in every category, brother. I'm taking Willow in every category.
Hush 499. Is WWE going to try and retain every potential free agent, or is there some that they'll let go? I'm looking at mostly AJ and Sheamus. AJ's not going anywhere.
Well, AJ Styles, I don't think his deal is even up this year. First of all,
Yeah, it is. Well, he might resign, but it is. It's up to 24.
Really? Oh my God. Well, I don't think he's leaving. But Sheamus, you got to keep your eye on Sheamus. I'll tell you this: the word from the WWE was just that they're going to focus the start of 2024 on just retaining everybody that they want to retain. So we're going to get an answer one way or another on who they're trying to keep, because a ton of people are going to start getting their extensions wrapped up, and whoever's names you see are excluded out of that, well, it'll tell you right there who they're not looking to keep.
I was looking at a list. Fightful like a month ago put out a list like of people whose contracts were up soon, and AJ is not on this list.
So I'm saying I don't think AJ's deal is coming up.
Well, he re-signed in 2019, and it was a 5-year. So
I want to say there's some. I can't remember what happened exactly, but I think his 2019 was a 3-year. Rob, I think it was a 3-year. Yeah, I think he signed a 3-year deal and then he extended in 2022, and signed a 5-year. That's what happened.
Okay, so his deal's up in 27, right?
Something like that. Because I remember him, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn got extensions all in the same time, around the same time, and they all got the same amount of money. It was like $3.5 million.
Okay, so when is Sami and Kevin up?
They signed 5-year deals.
Okay, so they're around for 5. Like, why are these people thinking that all these people are gonna leave? Like, they're not leaving. AJ, I know Sami and Kevin could leave if they want to, but AJ is pretty much retiring with WWE. He's made that clear.
I think he straight up said, or it's believed internally, that his current deal is his last deal in wrestling.
Yeah, like he's done after this.
He has like about just under 4 years left on the deal. So
yeah, because he's pretty much done everything. So Will Chisholm $5. I know Mercedes price has went up for wrestling companies. If Charlotte getting okay, hold on. I got this. Hold on. I know Mercedes price has went up for wrestling companies if Charlotte getting 5 million.
Listen, the price of the brick is going up, Rob.
Yes.
Price of the brick is going up.
Yeah, it's not. We don't do 2 million deals no more. 2 million is like that's chump change to us. That's a regular $5 bill.
Two mil is like 2 mil is like Kofi Kingston money now, bro.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Price of the brick going up.
Yeah, come on, man.
What do you mean? Well, come on. 4 years ago, nobody was making 2 mil 4 years ago except like Roman and like Charlotte and Becky and Brock.
That's that inflation, brother.
That's what I'm saying. It's affecting everything, including wrestling contracts. Good for the wrestlers, man. They're starting to. They're at least catching up because when it comes to what these companies make versus what these talents are getting paid, the disparity is insane. So, good for them.
All right. Hush 199. Thoughts on either KO or Sami Zayn WrestleMania match with Lesnar?
I'd love that. That sounds great. Sign me up.
I think Sammy's gonna do something with Drew. And I would love to see a Kevin Owens versus Brock Lesnar match. That is one of the matches that was highly talked about when he came to WWE. So,
yeah, I'd love to see it.
Thank you for the super chat. Will Chisholm, $2. The Creed's marking out over Cody pops me. Yeah, bro, they love that nigga, bro. I don't think that segment the way they marked out from was not a shoot. Hush 199. So they gave Brock's contract / money to Roman. No, Brock still makes 16 million. He still basically makes like 16 million, if not 20 at this point.
I doubt it. I don't know if it's that high, but there was a time when he was making 12, and he was making 12 back when guys like Roman were making 3. So maybe it is.
What I'm saying, bro. Like
maybe it is. Who knows? But
he might be making NBA player money.
Maybe so.
And then last super chat. Austin White 199. Any idea when Ricky Stark's contract might be up?
No.
And
Brian in the comments said isn't KO Sami's deal up in 2024? No, they signed extensions in 2022, so no.
Yeah, no. Vince put the 5-year big money on them, so they stayed.
Mm-hmm. Actually, Kevin might have signed a 3. I'm kind of forgetting, to be honest with you. Kevin might have, but even if it's a 3, that's a 2025 expiration rather than a 2027 or whatever it is. So we'll see. We'll find out. All I know is neither guy is a free agent this year or this coming year. So that's the deal with that. Do we have anything else, Rob? Any other super chats?
No, we do not.
All right. Well, guys, that was the Raw review. This was a lot of fun. We covered Raw. We talked about some contract news. Got to break some news here with Charlotte Flair, who got paid. And so we'll see where everything else shakes out. But I know where this is going to shake out. We're going home. No Raw review next week because there's no episode of Monday Night Raw. But everybody, guys, just enjoy the holidays. Your next stream will probably be, we might do one tomorrow. I'm not sure. We may do one tomorrow.
We might be here.
We might be here. We'll definitely be here for AEW Dynamite. And so you guys can look forward to that. Remember, again, please check out the Leo Rush interview if you have not already. Really, really open and honest conversation with myself, AO, and Leo Rush. Check out Russell Pierce Worldwide, where we reviewed SmackDown, Collision, some of Rampage, and Ring of Honor Final Battle. And check out Joe Holbert's interview with Athena, which he did on Friday. So, again, for Rob, I am Ibu of Russell Pierce. This is the Raw Review, and we'll catch you guys next time.
All righty. AW, they fired you? Right, they are.